Okay, we are recording. So Tracy, I have never coached you personally. I've seen you around and seen you in the community. So I'm so excited to spend a half an hour with you today. But before we get started with our coaching call, I just wanted to create agreements for this call. And so it will be to hide nothing and hold nothing back, to play full out. You'll get what you put into it. Safety. So this is a non-judgment zone. There's nothing you can say that will make me judge you or think any differently of you. My job as your coach in this next 30 minutes is to see you as the amazing human that you are and love you unconditionally. And the other agreement would be confidentiality normally, but we are going to post this in probably on Vimeo and offer the link to new nurse coaches in the future who might want to see coaching, an actual coaching session, to get an idea of what it was like or what it is like.
Mm-hmm.
And positive intent. I, as your coach for this next 30 minutes, vow to serve you and not please you. And so anything I say, I ask that you take it with absolute positive intent.
Sounds great.
Okay. Is there anything that you want to bring to the conversation before we start?
No, that all sounds perfect.
Okay. Oh, I'm so excited. Okay. So if we were to talk about something for 30 minutes that would make the biggest impact in your life right now, what's the one thing we would talk about today?
I think based on some of the posts and so forth that we've kind of gone back and forth with, I would say probably my mindset around money, because I think that's having a big impact in my life in many ways right now.
Yeah, my money mindset's huge at a lot of times in our life, but when we start our own practices, which I know you're beginning,
Mm-hmm.
that's when that one's like, okay, you got to pay attention to me first.
Exactly.
So tell me more about your story, about your money story. And I know a little bit, not a whole lot, but I know that you're not swimming in money at the current moment, and that's something really you're working on.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I don't quite honestly know my story, so to speak, but basically, in a nutshell, what's happened recently is I decided to take the plunge and do coaching with Shelby.
Mm-hmm.
And literally, I think it was a day or two later, my furnace died.
Oh no.
so, so, yeah, I was already sort of on the fence, like, okay, this is a lot of money to spend, but I also value it. And I know the importance of investing in myself and my business. Um, but a $10,000 wrench in the works was a big setback. And so, you compound that with COVID, and that's also taken a hit on my day business, so to speak, my massage therapy practice. So yeah, there's been a lot of stress around that lately.
So it's real.
Mm-hmm.
It's not imagined. Tell me more about what happened emotionally when you took the plunge, you invested in a coach, you're really going for this thing, and then you had this unexpected financial thing happen to you.
It was just kind of like the wind got knocked out of me. Like, I don't know what the right choice is in this moment.
What advice would you give your client, if this was super similar, if they had just invested with you and then they had a financial setback? Or what would you coach them around?
In a way, I coached myself around it with the help of Shelby. I reached out and I said, talk me off the ledge.
Yeah.
Like, I know I need to do it. I know that I'm in this position where this is the best route for me right now. But struggling to make that choice was hard. And so there was a couple days between the time that she and I connected after I found out about the furnace. And so in a way, I talked myself off the ledge before our call, knowing that that was the right path and somehow I would figure it out.
Mhm.
Um, but I know not everyone's like that. So how I would coach someone around that, I'm not quite sure, other than just sharing my story and what I was faced with and the decisions that I chose to make.
That's what I was thinking, is that part of what we bring to coaching is our stories, our own personal stories. We have our certification and we have our education, but then we have these major life things that we overcome. And then they become this bouquet of tools that we can pull from when we have a human in front of us that's having an experience that we have possibly faced something similar to. Not to tell them, me too, you're not alone. Not for that, but for actually knowing in our bones how it feels in those
Mhm.
moments
Mhm.
where it's like, what else are you going to throw at me?
There's been many of those moments, yes.
um, so I want to look at it. What's your spiritual or religious background, Tracy?
Um, I was raised Lutheran
Hmm.
and then converted to Catholic when I was around middle school age for various reasons that I won't go into right now.
Yeah.
I have since really separated from the church. I think that I feel like spirituality is so individual and I can be a
Hmm.
good person without having to go to an organized space,
Okay.
and so just based on the choices that I make in life on a day-to-day basis.
So for right now, you would identify more as spiritual, not religious.
Mhm.
And so I remember Dr. Wayne Dyer saying, when you don't know what the hell is going on in your life, and you have these things that happen, there's like always a spiritual solution to whatever problem you have. And that stuck with me because there's been so many times in life where it feels like I'm being punished or things are stacking up against me. And I have that feeling like, what am I missing here? Like, why is this happening? Or what am I missing here? And so I guess I'm wondering if you've had that perspective of what lesson or what growth are you being invited into from a spiritual standpoint, because all the other standpoints don't make sense.
Mhm. Yeah, I would say that definitely resonates with me. We've all had different life experiences and different bad things, if you will, that have happened. But I usually am able to reframe it, maybe not right away,
Yeah.
but down the line, like, okay, this was a good thing because,
Mhm.
and so that is generally my go-to. So I'm waiting for the message here of why this is happening, but I know it will appear at some point.
Well, the first one that like came to me is, if from being in private practice for a while, that if I had a $10,000 unexpected expense come through, my immediate brain would say, how many people do I have to serve this month to make this not affect me and my family? And it's like the equivalent of picking up extra shifts at the hospital, but it's like 100,000 times better. So have you thought about that, about how you could offset that expense by serving a specific amount of people for a certain amount of money?
Mhm. In a roundabout way, I've probably considered that.
Hmm.
I haven't brought it forth to fruition. It's not a reality yet. But yeah, if I could see a couple clients for a 3-month period,
Okay.
that would probably ease that burden,
Yeah,
that financial burden.
we have 20 minutes to figure out how to do that. Are you game?
Absolutely. Of
The
course.
first step in manifesting money out of thin air is to write it down, exactly what you need from
Mhm,
God, universe, spirit, whatever. Um, because as you were talking, I'm like, the timing's not by accident, that you took this financial risk, you leapt, and then you were backed up with another kind of push off the ledge even further with the $10,000 unexpected expense. So
mhm,
you're, in my opinion, spirit saying it's time. You've waited long enough. Like, step into your power and claim what's yours. So it's almost like you're getting momentum without trying, out of necessity.
mhm.
And I wonder if we can use that to serve 3 or 4 people that you haven't met yet that really need your medicine and your help.
Absolutely.
Okay, so what is your price for $3,000, or what is your price for 3 months to work with you? Sorry.
It actually, I revamped my prices, so I'll have to revisit it. I think the 3-month price was 2,500 if paid over time, and then, or yeah, over like a 3-month period. And then I think it was 2,100 if they paid in
Upfront.
full. Yeah.
Why don't we make it 2,500 if they pay up front, and then 3,000 if they pay in full, just
Okay.
for math. And 3,000 for 3 months is a really great price for. Is it life coaching? Is it holistic coaching? Transformative coaching? What would you call it?
My intent was health coaching,
Okay.
and it seems like the people that are drawn to me are more life coaching with a little added health coaching on the side.
I think bingo, because health and life are totally interconnected. And I feel like when we call it something more other than health, sometimes it can attract different types of people into our practice and give us more of breadth, because we know that they're intertwined. You can't have a good life without health, and you can't have a good health without a good life. So, okay, so we're going to call you whatever word we're going to use. And if you enrolled 4 people in the next 30 days, 4 people for 3 months at 2,500, you would be square.
Yeah.
And thousands and thousands and thousands of people who are less qualified than you, less gifted than you, have done this year. You're coming in ahead of the crowd in your skill and your background, because you're a healer, you're a nurse, and I know what program you went through. So I know you have the goods to deliver.
Sure. Yep.
Okay. When we haven't sold anything before, you've sold massage therapy though, so this isn't totally brand new to you, but it's a different paradigm, correct?
Yeah. And I've had one paid client last fall. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't identify as a salesperson or have a lot of sales training or, right?
No,
Okay.
absolutely not.
Me neither. Most of us nurses were like, oh gosh, this is not what I was thinking when I was going to open my own practice.
Yes.
So there's 3 things that are the most important things to focus on to make this plan a reality. So 1, we need to write it down and post it someplace you see it every single day. And in the form that we will write that down is I am coaching 4 people and changing their lives, and they have each paid me $2,500 to work with me for 3 months. When we declare that, and we have it someplace in our visual field, it changes like our vibe in our body, because that we're very clear on what we're creating. And the point of that is, yes, the 10,000 to help you out, which is going to be an after effect, but you're going to go serve 4 humans and change their lives. And probably they're all waiting for you out there. They're just waiting for you to invite them. That's how this thing works, is when you decide you're going to help 4 people, they're already out there waiting. And from a spiritual standpoint, you've already been destined to coach them. And so when you invite them, you'll know immediately, and it becomes a very easy enrollment process.
Awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that.
Okay, cool. So we're going to put it up someplace you can see. The next thing is that you have to believe it in yourself.
Okay.
And you have to believe in your client.
Okay.
Everything else will unfold naturally. You won't have to worry about what you're going to say, how you're going to say it, because if you're in that state of complete and utter belief in them and whatever vision they have, and you're in complete and utter belief of your ability to serve them, all the words will come. Everything will happen from like an intuitive place, not from a, I have to learn how to do this place.
Mhm.
And so since we don't have a lot of time, because our goal is in the next 30 days, what's the one thing that's holding you back from believing in your ability to coach these 4 people powerfully?
I would say a little bit of imposter syndrome, probably.
Tell me more about that.
Um, Feeling like in my head, I know I don't need to know it all, but feeling like I need to know it all and have all the answers,
Mm-hmm.
and knowing that I don't have all the answers, nor will I, and nor should I expect to. And so there's just that discrepancy and that imbalance between what I know to be true and what is true. And
Mm.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you need to know to hold space? Oh, actually, you know what? I'm going to phrase it differently. I'm going to give you permission to do something in a way that hopefully will make sense to be able to serve even from that background imposter feeling. Is that every time I enroll someone to work with me and they pay me $5,000 for 3 months to work with me, I believe in whatever vision they have. I have no idea how they're going to get there or how I'm going to coach them to get there. I figure that out minute by minute on every coaching call for that 3 months.
Mhm.
So I enroll them. I believe in them. I guarantee them that I will create space for them to change, and I have no idea how it's going to happen ever. So coaching, what's cool about that is that if you need to learn something along the way, you have time to learn it. If there's like a skill or something that you feel like it would help me to serve this person if I knew about XYZ, you have a week in between sessions to learn whatever XYZ is to serve that person.
Sure.
You know, we live in an age where information is not hard to find. We can get any information we need, and our clients can get any information that they need. So they don't come to us for information. They come to us because they need someone to believe in them, and to call them all on all their stories too. So are you truly an imposter when it comes to looking at coaching from that point of view?
Most definitely not.
No. So tell me 3 things about you that make you an extraordinary coach.
I know that I can hold space with my clients. I've done it in a variety of ways for years, and that's definitely something that comes back around time and again.
Yeah.
Um, my clients always tell me how much they can trust me right away. And I think that's hugely beneficial for coaching, especially.
Yeah.
Um, and just a broad background of life and work experiences, I think, that I bring to the table to serve the clients that I serve.
Absolutely. Absolutely. As a massage therapist, you hold incredible space on a regular basis.
Mhm.
What have you noticed where the crossover is from the skills that you've learned as a massage therapist? And I know a lot of nurse coaches who do both or have done both. And I'm just curious about what your insight is into moving from holding that physical space and emotional and mental and spiritual, and then taking it into a conversation.
Um, you know, because when people come into me for massage, there is conversation that happens as well. I've just learned over the years how to hold that space and that container of safety. So it's been a pretty natural transition to
Mm-hmm.
bring it into coaching. It's just making it more formalized and charging for it versus free advice, if you will.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Do you think that the formal coaching that you offer is more valuable than the free advice you've given in the past?
No, no, I'm just glad to be finally charging for it and getting reimbursed, being in that position.
Yeah.
Mhm.
How many of your massage clients have you been able to offer coaching to?
I've put it out there via email and sometimes mentioned it in person to all of them,
Awesome.
anyone that's on my list.
Awesome. What's the response been, or what's your experience been like?
Um, it's been a mixed bag. Everyone's excited about it and happy for me. Um, some were very willing to be my test clients, when I was going through the program. And a lot of them have, I think they would happily continue on if they didn't have to pay for it. I'm in sort of a funny little community where everyone wants everything for free or discounted.
Okay. Makes
So
sense. Okay.
it's a little bit of an uphill battle in this particular community that I serve.
Right. And also, massage is a per hour service. So there's a dollar amount associated in an industry standard that's more established. And then coaching is this whole other paradigm. So it can be difficult to take someone from that into this. It's not impossible. Have you ever thought about have you ever not proposed to somebody? Have you ever coached them and then been afraid and not proposed to keep working with you for money?
Probably nothing's coming to mind. I did a free session with a woman who's a massage client also about 2 weeks ago. And then I have a follow up with her last week. And I just sort of felt like she's in a good space. And I didn't feel like she necessarily needed coaching right now for some of the stuff she's dealing with.
Okay.
And so I didn't propose at that point just because I felt like I'm not really sure that this would serve her with where she's at. And she also expressed a little resistance, even just for the follow-up. She's like, well, I don't know that I can pay for this. And I'm like, no, you don't have to. This is on me. This is me being of service to you. And then after the follow-up conversation, I just felt like it wasn't necessarily either the right time to ask or she didn't necessarily need the services right now.
Are you intuitive? Are you pretty intuitive?
Yes.
Yeah. A lot of body workers are very intuitive. Okay, cool. So how do we make your intuition work for you when it comes time to ask these 4 clients that you're going to enroll for money? And I'm going to just share with you the mindset trick that worked for me. So unlike Shelby, I really, really struggled with the money thing my first year. I did okay, but I cried a lot and I felt shitty a lot. And I could not raise my prices, even though my coach told me to. And I just didn't want to take advantage of people. And I didn't it was really, really hard for me to overcome. So I want to preface it with that because it wasn't an easy transition for me.
Okay.
What changed it for me was and I'll share one tiny story. Because intuitively, I think that's what you're going to be up against in these next 4 proposals that are going to happen that you're going to get yeses on. I had a gentleman come to me and he had lost 100 pounds and he didn't know what to do with himself because women were noticing him and his wife was really mean to him and he didn't want to cheat on his wife. But he also didn't know who he was. And he was at yoga 5 days a week. And he's creating this whole new life. So this total identity crisis. And I could help him. And he needed my help. And I felt so compelled to help him. And I proposed the most I'd ever proposed. It was 6 months for $4,000 at that time. And he made a lot of money. So there was no he could afford it. And he wanted to pay me right then in my office. And I said, oh, I will create a contract and send, he wanted to give me his credit card, but it made me so nervous to take a credit card and to figure out how to swipe it in front of him for $4,000 that I made it easier on myself by telling him I would email him a contract and an invoice. And then he left and I did a happy dance. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's a great client. I got my asking price. And then between his yes and going home and talking to his wife, and days going by, he decided it wasn't a good fit. because it's really natural for our brains to get in the way of something like that, to make a $4,000 investment to change and do work and be uncomfortable, because I made it about me. So that man did not get served by me, and his life didn't change because of how nervous I was about my money crap. And I took that to heart, and I realized how selfish it was to not get over it, and that money isn't, that 4,000 he's paying is not to me, it's for him. I'm just the store that provides it, instead of, I'm not the one getting it. So one hack I realized is we can sell our programs and the experience of transformation as something separate from us. And we can talk about it because we know that that transformation is good for that client. And then we're not feeling like we're asking for money. We're asking our clients to spend money on this thing that we know we can hold. And when we take it out of like us, like give me money, as opposed to pay for this thing that I know is going to help you, it really helped me in those conversations. So a trick can be to create just a written idea of what a 3-month package would look like for these humans before you propose to them. And then when it's time to do the proposal, you sell it as something separate from yourself that you believe in 1,000%, a process that you deeply believe in. And maybe you could give yourself a year.
That would be perfect.
And intuitively, once you've done it one time, like the way that it feels energetically, you're like, this is amazing. And I feel I was so in service to them. And by letting them pay for this package that's not me, it's the deepest service that I can provide for them in their life. And so I hope that lands in some form, because I know it's a stretch for you to do 4 proposals in the coming weeks. And but I think that spirit and universe is like, we're going to drop this in back of her, so that no matter what fears or imposter syndromes come up, she's going to serve those 4 people that need her.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then you have to tell me when it happens, okay?
For sure. You'd be the first to know.
That's the most exciting messages that I get is, oh my gosh, I don't know what's happening, but I just got, 3 yeses in a row. Because it happens like that. Once it clicks and you're kind of fully in alignment with who you are and what you're meant to do, that is how it happens. And it happens and it feels effortless. Any resistance, ideas, anything around that I just described that came up for you?
I don't know if it's resistance so much, but a concern is like, how do I just find 4 people, like, where are those 4 people coming from? Do I reach out to them? Do they come to me? How do they come into my circle?
You reach out to them, and anywhere you go, you use your intuition. If you're not working just local, that's nice. You could do a post in a community Facebook group, because you offer 2 free coaching sessions, because you do it the Prosperous Coach method, right? So you're always giving 2 hours to any human that wants to spend time with you. And then if they want to continue, that's a totally separate agreement than your agreement to serve them pro bono for 2 sessions. So it's really about just booking as many pro bono calls with people that need you. And then on the calls, getting super clear on what their vision is and what that gap is that they're currently experiencing. And then believing 1,000%, even if you have to make yourself pretend that you believe in them, you believe in coaching, and you believe in yourself and able to hold that space, even if you don't know the how.
Okay, perfect.
And that's like, 8 weeks of coaching in 30 minutes. But but what I'm thinking is that money thing that you've been faced with is really just like wind in your sail to go have uncomfortable conversations, because it's time. Like this month, we're not going to wait 3 months to build up the confidence. You're just going to go for it because you have to. And those
Yeah.
and those people will thank you for being so bold and for asking them if they want some help and support.
Awesome.
And then I know you have
That's awesome.
Shelby, so she'll be back in the saddle soon to support, to give you all the ideas and the support on the how to execute this. But
Sure.
this is the idea that we're going to throw out into the universe. We're going to post on the wall that you are going to be out of this pinch in a month by serving 4 humans that need you.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you.
Me too. I could do this all day. I want to respect your time. Do you have any other questions or things that you would like to add before we conclude?
I don't right now. Thank you.